came and provided me backup, and we all kind of, gathered out front and talked about, all right, what do we want to do? What kind of tactics do we want to employ against her? And we decided that we wanted to shame her. We decided we wanted to confront her with the damage of her own policy. So one thing we did is someone had a portable speaker on them, and just, I think the night before, the ProPublica audio of the children crying in the detention centers had been released. And so we were like, all right, we're gonna play the sound of children crying, force her to listen to it, and just kind of, channel all that anger and make her confront these things. Because I think what happens in this city is that all of this behavior gets normalized. It's really disturbing. I mean, I've been here almost 5 years now, and parts of it have started to normalize for me. But I think when you have someone coming from the outside, you don't know how deals are made, you don't know how legislation is written, how many of our legislators don't actually read the bills that they vote on, and how much we just accept that folks that are doing this kind of catastrophic damage are just, paper-pushing bureaucrats that really aren't culpable for their actions. And even once I did that protest, luckily, I think it struck right at the right moment that most of the country was angry enough that they thought that it was okay, to cross that social boundary of civility and yell at this person in a public place. I think people were mostly behind it. But even so, I'm sure, as you all saw, there was a huge debate over civility that ignited a bunch of warring New York Times op-eds about what is acceptable in polite society. But I think what we need to realize is that we are no longer in a polite society. That ended a long time ago. We are in uncharted territory, and I think a lot of the country and a lot of us from time to time, just as the means of survival, we like to pretend that we still are, and we like to deny what's happening right now. So I want to talk just a little bit about what has happened since last summer. I would like to talk about what has happened since November 2016, but honestly, it's hard for me to even place it right now. It's such an onslaught of terrible thing after terrible thing, I think we lose track of it. But just since last summer, let's talk about a couple things that happened. We obviously had the Helsinki event. That was a huge moment. We had Brett Kavanaugh getting put on the Supreme Court. That was actually another moment where I've never seen that level of anger in the Trump administration, and it was really revitalizing for me to just see that energy from people, to see people fired up again, because I think we do like to check out. But we saw Brett Kavanaugh get appointed just a couple months ago. I feel like I've already forgot about this, but we had a government shutdown, the longest one in history. That damaged so many people, so many families, shut down services for those who needed it most. For no reason, for a vanity project that, by the way, still hasn't happened.
It's worth reminding that Secret Service was not paid while protesting.
Yes, Secret Service was not paid. Federal workers were forced to work for free. Not able to support their families, not able to get medical care. These are serious, serious problems, and Trump just used them as pawns. And this is what he does. He separates children from families. He appoints rapists to the Supreme Court. He sacrifices, people's livelihoods just so he can score some political points that he didn't even score in the end. And I think one thing we lose sight of is there's so many constant stories, so many constant disappointments, that it's so easy for us to check out and just be like, it's too much, I don't want to think about it. Honestly, if Trump did 1% of the terrible things that he does, I think he'd be impeached by now. It's the fact that he does 100% all the time. There's something new coming out, almost like on purpose, like he's trying to distract us. And I think we need to focus on that. It doesn't need to be one impeachable offense, one terrible thing. The fact that he's constantly churning out these horrific policies, these terrible people in his administration, all of these things are impeachable offenses, and all we need to do as citizens is to rise up and say that. We don't need to prove it. We don't need to show our work. We don't need to have a reference point in history, even though there are a million. This is like Nixon on steroids over here. We just need to come together and say, we are fed up, we are done, and we are not doing this anymore. Unfortunately, it seems like our leaders do not want to do that for us, but we can flood the streets. We can do this every day. We can continue to organize and find ways to speak out against this administration, and frankly, we need to do it. I truly can't believe that we are more than 2 years into this administration. It's been horrific beyond what I've worst feared when he got elected in 2016, and yet here we are proceeding as if things are normal. Even though I think if your life is anything like mine, even as good things happen, there's this constant stress, constant deadening of joy. It's not the life that I lived before 2016. And I think it's a collective trauma that we're gonna all have to deal with, but that's for after we get rid of the thing causing the trauma. So I hope everyone here, once you leave this place, do not check out, do not forget. Find ways to take this energy of the KremlinAnnex protests and bring it back to your own communities. Bring it to your elected officials. Park yourself outside of their offices. Organize with your local indivisible groups and get this guy out. Because every day that we don't, even if you are personally okay, even if your life is safe, people are being damaged every single day, and it's up to us to do something about it.
I just want to